Okay, good evening, everyone. It is May 20th, 2024 at 6 p.m., and it's time to call the Franklin City Council meeting to order. And just for the record, everyone is recorded on YouTube. This started about 2 years ago, and we want all of our residents to be able to keep up on our meetings. So just wanted to remind everyone of that, that was there. So, Ms. Jones, roll call, please.
Mr. Austin?
Here.
Mr. Shuck?
Here.
Ms. McGinnis?
Here.
Ms. Nally?
Here.
Ms. Price?
Here.
Mr. Prine?
Here.
Mr. Taylor? Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Tom Moore for the prayer and pledge, please.
Let's pray. Dear God in heaven, we are just grateful to be here together today, just enjoying this beautiful weather that you've created for us. Understanding that we're wrapping up a school year here in Johnson County and Franklin, and we're just grateful for the safety you've given our kids and teachers and just the amazing work that parents have put into. And Lord, we just continue to lift them up and their dedication to you. As we continue on into our summer and think of the different events that are going to be taking place around the city, Strawberries in the Square, and the different things happening in the new amphitheater and around Franklin, we just pray for your blessed hand upon the events and providing mercy, safety, and just a lot of fun for the residents and even those who are coming into town visiting. We just continue to lift up our council members and city leaders as they're, many of them here tonight, representing the different departments and things that they oversee. Just continue to provide wisdom and guidance for them and their areas of expertise and choices that have to be made, and even their families that they go home to today. We just continue to provide safety for them all. And we just want to encourage them and lift them up here as they have weighty matters to weigh on them throughout the months and years ahead. And we're just grateful for them. As we continue on into the summer and think of just the businesses that are here represented in Franklin and the economy that they provide to the area and the jobs that they provide, and even giving back to the community themselves, we pray that you would allow them to find much success as this year 2024 continues on, and we're just grateful for them as well. Lord, we also pray for our country and the many things that we have to decide as a nation this year, and we just show your hand strong, continue to lift up the family in our nation and in our local communities, and provide safety and keep us productive and safe citizens. As we look into the summer, and we're just asking, God, that you allow us to keep our eyes focused on you. And as your word says, that you are the author, you are the writer, and you are the finisher of our faith. I pray that we would all recognize you as our Father, and your hand of mercy you've provided to us, and Lord, just success that you've given us here in our great country and in our great state and city. You are a good God. We pray this in your name. Amen. Amen. All rise for pledges. Ready? Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty then.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, that gets us to announcements and public comments, and I think tonight Police Chief Kirby Cochran, he would like to recognize the Franklin Masons 107 Lodge for some donation to the canine program.
Just want to say the Franklin Masonic Lodge did up to the fish fry recently. This is one of our canine programs. It's not the first time we've been accompanied with a recognition award for city donors, but we are very gracious and thankful for all of our community partners, police department, fire department, and all other agencies of public safety. Tax dollars and good personal relationships between police and fire and our public. We really appreciate that. These guys are write a check and he had to put the name on it, so.
Did you?
Thank you guys.
Fish sandwiches.
You know, again, I say this every time. This is what makes Franklin Franklin, as our community does give back, and that's who we are. So thank you, guys. Okay, is there any other announcements or public comment that's not covered under the agenda? Hearing none, we will close that portion and go to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the council meeting minutes of May 6th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye. Move to
opposed?
approve old business by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to read old business by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, item number one, the only one under old business, approval of ordinance 2024-02, an ordinance amending ordinance number 92-16, and ordinance number 2023-15 regarding the promotion process for merit officers. City Attorney Lynn Gray.
I don't know if I should be happy or sad that I'm the old business. This is the item that I introduced at the last meeting, and it deals with the Merit Commission and the police department's promotion list. The Merit Commission is as indicated at the Board of Works meeting, they spend a lot of time setting forth our hiring lists, they spend a lot of time setting forth our promotion lists, and they have very specific rules and procedures by which people are promoted within the department. This is before you for a change, and if you take a look at the proposed ordinance, it's on page 12, is really where there is any change. And what happens is the Merit Board makes a recommendation to the council. The council considers it, and if the council approves it, then it goes back for the Merit Board for implementation and for them making their rules to adjust to this. And the issue that is being presented is there is a promotion list that exists. And there have been times where someone up for promotion has declined the promotion, and there wasn't any provision for what to do if somebody declined the promotion. They still stayed on the list at that same spot. And what it ultimately did, it basically caused us to have a bumper to get other people to the promotion list. So this proposed change does two things. Number one, if you're on the promotions list and you're offered the promotion and you request to be deferred to the Merit Board, they can defer that, and that puts you at the bottom of the list. If on 2 consecutive times you decline the promotion, then you are then removed from the list and we move forward. You maintain your rank, you maintain your employment, it's just the question of being promoted. It comes to you with a unanimous recommendation from the Merit Commission to consider this and amend the ordinance appropriately, and if you so desire to do so, it will then go back to the Merit Board for its implementation and another hearing, and they will amend their rules and procedures accordingly. So I'm happy to answer any question. I think, sir, it is a public hearing.
Okay, so at this point, I will open it up to public hearing. Is there any questions for the council or Ms. Gray? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and back at the council for any more questions or action on the item.
I assume there's no other issues that have not been addressed with this change.
No, this changed, right. with the
Nothing else
motion.
has come
There
up.
are always issues that come up, and the Merit Board's pretty good. Usually once, or maybe once every year, or once every couple of years. If they see something that routinely causes a problem, they'll say, hey, should we amend the ordinance? But this was the one, and it's been going on for a couple of years, I think. Chief obviously is there. It ended up leaving us an inability to move other people up because of there being a gap or a stop, if you will, of moving forward. But this was the primary concern for the
Okay.
list. But the key thing, again, is just because you decline the promotion and you don't take it, you still retain your rank at where you are. You're not punished in any way of that regard, and you still obviously maintain your employment. Chief, did I accurately portray that?
You did.
Okay, we're ready for action.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-02.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to new business.
Thank you, sir.
Move to read new business by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read new business by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we will go on to the approval of the Johnson Memorial Health Pickleball Court Memorandum of Understanding. City Attorney Lynn Gray and Parks Department Superintendent Chip Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will defer this to Chip because this is one time he is bringing us money instead of requesting money. And I think it's only fair to allow him to do the good stuff, too.
I appreciate that. Thank
Welcome.
you. We have been working for a little while on this partnership with Johnson Memorial Health, and they have agreed to sponsor the pickleball courts at Youngs Creek Park and Community Park. Part of this agreement is they will pay us $100,000 over 4 years, and then the partnership will be good for 10 years. That payment will start
Now,
hopefully, if you approve this in 30 seconds. I've already sent them the invoice. Did want to publicly thank the mayor's office. Normally, I get to take credit for all kinds of things Parks does that are good, but really the mayor and Tara did all of this in the city attorney's office. So I appreciate all their help for that. So.
Chip, can you explain what they're going to mark the courts?
Yep.
Both locations?
Yeah, so both locations will have the Johnson Memorial Health logo on the actual court. It will be painted on the court, and they've actually agreed to foot the bill for that too. So.
And they're going to be, we have several donors. The $100,000 mark is where we're close with everybody else over 10 years.
Yeah.
So this is consistent with what we've done in the past.
Yes.
Plus, we will have a plaqued area that matches the rest of the donors.
Yep.
For an example, like the bridge and the playground and that sort of stuff. And then another sign that will be there with Johnson Memorial.
Yeah, so the rule signs will have their logo on it and all that kind of stuff too. So it'll be branded Johnson Memorial Health Pickleball Courts. So.
But it's consistent with what we've done with
It
everyone
is.
else.
It is.
That's the point I want to get on the record.
As a participant of pickleball,
Yes.
where are the courts going to be marked? I'm
That is a-
assuming it's not on the actual pickleball court.
It will not be.
Okay.
It'll be more kind of the entrance of it. So
Good idea.
I don't want you to slip while you're playing. Then you'll sue us.
I'll tell you later. But yes, it does make a difference.
Okay.
So,
They're not trying to get more business from you slipping. So.
yeah.
they've got plenty.
No, it's the pickleball that slips, not you.
Okay, this one does not require a public hearing, so it's up to the council to, any more questions or comments, and we're ready to move.
I move to approve Johnson Memorial Health Pickleball Court MOU.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Chip.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chip.
Next item under new business, tax abatement request, Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Good evening. On May 14th, the Economic Development Commission met and reviewed an abatement request from Malarkey Roofing. They unanimously approved a favorable recommendation for a standard schedule 10-year real property investment of $83 million and a standard schedule 10-year personal property abatement for an investment of $95 million with a 2% real property and 5% personal property economic development fee. This project will place a 350,000 square foot facility. If you could just go right up for that picture. Go right back up to the photo, Terry. Right, yeah. There, perfect, thank you. You can see where the yellow line is, the yellow outline, that is where this is going to take place. This is the Kelsey property. The north is bounded by Paul Hand Boulevard. The east, all the way over, is Graham Road. To the south is Earlywood Drive, to kind of orient you where they are. The railroad runs right adjacent directly on the western edge of this property. So they are purchasing 135 acres where the yellow is. It will be bounded again again, on the north by Paul Hand, on the east by the soon-to-be-built Essex Drive, which I'll talk about in a second, to the west, the railroad. So that's kind of the area that you're looking at. Again, this will be a 350,000 square foot facility. There will be 215 new skilled labor jobs created at an average starting wage of $26.92, which is above our county average wage of $23.93. In addition, this company also pays 95% of the medical benefits for their employees, and they also have a 401k match. The company will make a rubberized asphalt shingle, which is a product that is unique to them and is considered highly sustainable. Excuse me, Malarkey has also committed to the city that they will build Essex Drive, they will build it to the city standards, and then they will dedicate that drive over to us. So it will be built from where it currently ends at Essex Furukawa all the way up to Paul Hand Boulevard and connect there. So they are going to be building that. They are also committed to providing the city with $2 million for the needed upgrades for Paul Hand Road. These upgrades will take place from the railroad tracks going east to where the roundabout will be at Graham and Paul Hand. So that's the area that they're looking at. They are doing that through an economic development agreement with the Redevelopment Commission. They are going to be using the railroad, so they will be putting in a rail spur. The advantage for us by them doing that is that there's going to be less truck traffic going in and out because they will also have the rail lines coming back and forth to be bringing their product in and out. Even with the abatement on this, at the end of 10 years, even with the abatement for the real property, we're estimating approximately $12 million for the city in property tax revenue. If it remained farm ground, you'd be looking at about $49,000. 20 years, you're looking at about $38 million versus $99,000 for the real property. Personal property is about $4 million in tax revenue. Personal property does depreciate. As you all know, it kind of goes down. So it would, at the end of this 20 years, you're looking at about. So it is definitely, oops, I'm not sure what happened there. It is something that's going to be very good for the company. We do have this evening, Christopher, Mike. Is there something? Got it. Did you get it? There. Good deal. Thank you. We have with us Mr. Dave Locksmith, who is CFO of Malarkey. He is here tonight to answer any questions that you may have about the project or anything else that I can answer. So this is in an ERA, so we have already had that done, Ms. Gray, so we only need the one vote tonight for the real property and the personal property. So.
And as I further understand, the property is zoned for this type of development.
Yes, ma'am. It's already zoned, annexed, everything's already done. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, can you come up? Was that your intent, Dana?
Sure, yeah. Mr. Locksmith, happy to have him come up if you have any questions for him from the company.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for your consideration. Happy to answer any questions you may have about the project.
Okay, and I think at the EDC, you had a pretty nice presentation, and I think that, can you hit on some of those highlights?
Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, so.
I can almost remember all that.
Yeah, so for Malarkey Roofing, so we make an asphalt shingle. We're based out of Portland, Oregon. That's where we were founded. We currently have a plant in Portland. We have a plant in Southern California. We have one in Oklahoma City. We also have a plant out in Maryland that's helping make one of our substrates for our shingles. And we're started in 1956. We're a family-owned company, the Malarkey's family, so hence the name. We were bought by a company called Wholesome 2 years ago. So that's like the parent company, but we still operate largely independently. Strategically, what we're trying to do is expand to the Midwest because we think we have a very good product. It's very innovative. As Dana mentioned, it uses like a rubberized asphalt shingle, which means we take used tires and used plastic bags and other stuff. We actually add it to the mix. And by doing that, it actually makes a stronger, more bendable, pliable shingle, which it works better as in hail. And I understand out here you guys have big hail. I don't have that out there in Portland, but I know it's very impact resistant. It's also more sustainable. Our competitors generally use an oxidizing process, which is very energy intensive to kind of pre-age the asphalt to make it usable. So the issue why you want to come out here to Indiana is that you only can ship these products like 300 to 500 miles. It's not economical. So Indiana is one that we've been looking at for a long time. And as we looked around, we found Franklin to be a great city to work as far as logistically. Just the site itself is really good. I think the partnership we found from the city with the mayor and Dana has been very good. I think just we feel like there's a lot of good culture fit from how we work as a company as well, and we just really believe in being good neighbors. I think when we look at our Oklahoma plant, that's kind of what we're trying to prototype here a little bit, where we're good neighbors there. We volunteer in the community. We use Habitat for Humanity. We've donated 400 roofs out there and stuff. And so we're hoping to come here and be good neighbors and be good, being a good contributor to the city. The jobs we provide, they are good jobs. Like I think they are, they're not laborers like where the stuff's mostly kind of automated, but those jobs there's things where people can come in with, you don't need experience, and as long as you're willing to work hard and learn, you can move up. And so we have a lot of people that moved up to being levels of management and whatnot. We have those kind of positions here. We want to hire that all locally as best we can. So I think that's it. If happy to take any questions you have for me, though.
Sir, just some of the feedback I've been getting from my constituents is the smell and the kind of the do's and don'ts and everything concerning smell. And I think the technology's changed to where back in 1956 when shingles were being built initially that it was maybe a little smelly. And I think that technology's changed. Can you just talk a little bit about the smell or the lack of smell at your facilities?
For sure, yeah. So I mean, I think if you look at the Oklahoma City plant, like we haven't had a smell complaint there. I think it's in part because the way the location is. I mean, there's stuff in the area. It's an industrial area, but there is a school maybe a half mile away and whatnot. There haven't been any complaints there. Is there a chance that someone might smell something on a certain day with a certain humidity? I guess that's always a potential. But we do use all the right process to exhaust, to reduce any possible effect in that regard. So, but no, I mean, again, there's been no smell complaints out there at Oklahoma City.
And speak a little about your recycling, because how critical that is in today's world, recycling. Can you mention and talk a little bit about what percentage of your product is being recycled?
So products that actually go on the roofs right now, that is not generally recycled. That's something we're definitely looking at because we know there's a lot of 85% of all the houses are done by asphalt shingles. And so that's a lot of shingles. When you go to change your roof, that all kind of generally goes to landfill. And so it's something we're aware of. We have a lot of initiatives underway to look at recycling that, like how to reclaim that, maybe get the granules, on have to reuse those, and then you shred the rest of it to put it back into your asphalt as a filler instead of displacing some of our other products, the other materials. So we want to get there. We're not there yet. Some of the other competitors actually are a little bit further ahead than us, and that's great. There's actually an industry working group on this, so we all want to share. So I think we want to make asphalt shingles to be sustainable. Within the plant, we do try to reuse as much waste and reduce it. We have a goal to get rid of all the waste in the next 2 years. So because we want to be sustainable. I mean, it's a big component of the company.
Does your product come with a warranty that's better than your competitors? I think roof shingles last, 25 years with this rubberized product you're talking about? Is it 30, 35, or stays at 25?
So our roofing warranties are an interesting space where a lot of our competitors might say 50 years or something like that, and I think there's a lot of asterisks in there. I'd say we're competitive where we're at. I don't know where we're anymore. But.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So I do have some questions here. As far as the unit, is there only going to be one unit on the property, or will you have multiple buildings?
So there'll be a main production building, and there'll be like a warehouse building next to it, and there'll also be like an asphalt mixing building where we take the asphalt. That's where we kind of do a little bit of our secret sauce to mix it in. So, but within the main production building, we're going to have 2 production lines in there.
Mm. And when you said oxidize, I hate to say this, but are you saying you're burning it down? You're burning down
so we don't do that. So we don't, that's what I was saying, what our competitors do is they run hot air through it to age the asphalt, but we're not doing that. So again, we don't need to do it. We instead just take the asphalt and we can mix in virgin polymers, recycled plastics and whatnot. We do mix it in there, but it's not like I mean, it's heated, but it's not like burning.
Burning
I
like
guess.
a
No.
burned tire?
No, 'cause
Like
that
you
would
burn the tire?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. No.
And then when you say that your waste, you're getting rid of most of your waste, what do you do with the waste that you don't happen to get rid of or use or recycle?
Well, so some of it, at least out of our Portland plant, what we do is we do partner with pavers, and we can take, so people actually pave roads, and they'll take some of our waste and they can mix it in. Some of it does go to the landfill. Again, we're trying to get out of that.
Yeah.
It's a big focus, not just of Malarkey, but also our parent company, Wholesome, that they want to get to zero. And so that's a big focus area for us.
So the housing additions around there won't have to worry about like canisters or big bins being filled with the waste that you guys don't use?
Oh, no, like stockpiles or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
No, we don't do it. No, we
yeah,
don't keep it on
okay.
site, so.
All right, thank you.
I guess to piggyback off that, I guess another question I might have you had any EPA violations at any of your other facilities over the past, say, 40 years or 20 or?
Yeah, so we are a minor source, so we'll be going through to get a license or a permit through the Indiana, I forget the name.
IDEM.
IDEM, yeah. So they'll give us the air permit for that. We did have a fine out of Portland from the local DEQ there. That stemmed from a product that we're not making here. That's from making like the substrate material, which is like a fiberglass material. And what happened at that time is there was accidentally a change, or there's a change in our process that changed the amount of emissions that were going to went above that we were permitted to do. We discovered it ourselves years later, several years later, and then fixed it ourselves. We're self-reported and put in a new unit to help clean the air. We're actually now at 5% of what our permitted levels are. So, but there was a fine with that. It was like about $1 million or something like that. So, but again, that's a product line that we're not bringing here anyway. We're really just doing asphalt shingles here.
And you are governed by the EPA regulations as well as the IDEM regulations. DEQ is similar to
Oregon,
IDEM, what we
yeah,
have here.
yeah.
You are subject to those,
Yes,
correct?
we are, yes.
What year was that?
The fine, 2021 is fine, yeah.
That's fine. Thank you.
And I would say that's been highly discussed and explained in any meetings that we've had, and it wasn't something that we wasn't aware of. We have done our due diligence in our department, and Dana can touch on that if you feel a need to, Dana, or if anybody wants Dana to touch on that, so.
Yes, we did. We spent quite a bit of time. We've talked to other communities out there. We went through, I spent about 4 hours one day on the computer going through anything and everything that I could find about that. I read through the entire case of what went on out there in Oregon, and as Mr. Waxman said, it's not even a process that's going to be done here. But in Oregon, they did note that they self-reported. They brought it to their attention. Had they not done that, they probably wouldn't have known for many, many years. They did voluntarily say, yep, we'll pay the fine, whatever you have us to do, we will do, and took care of everything immediately. If any of you are familiar with Reddit, Reddit is a social media site where people can go online and ask questions, and someone had gone online and asked a question about in Oklahoma City, do you have issues with them? Do you have whatever is the problem? And the majority of the answers were nope, they were good company, they were good neighbors. They asked specifically about the smell, Mr. Austin, and they said unless you are literally right there at the plant, you don't smell anything. Unless it's a really bad windy day, you might get something a little bit more. I think there was at one of your facilities, there was a complaint one time, and they thought it was the plant, and they were actually paving the road out in front. So it was the asphalt company paving the road where the asphalt smell was coming from. It was not coming from the plant. So Mayor Barnett also we had an intern last summer who spent some time going through and looking. We looked at everything that we could possibly look at. So we did do our due diligence. As I said, we've talked to other communities, found out there were other communities that were willing to consider them, and said they found no issues with them as well.
Thank you.
Can you talk about, Dana, the gentleman from Anderson that on the Gary Dick show?
Yes.
Can you, his comments, that's That's online?
Yes, they are online. The Inside Indiana business, Gary Dick interviewed. He interviewed the community and economic development specialist for the city of Anderson. Mr. Winkler went out there specifically himself, and he brought, I believe, another council member. I do not know the council member's name. There were 3 council members? Okay, there were 3 council members. I'm glad you knew that. They came out, they saw it in person, they came back, they reported to their council at the time and their mayor that there were absolutely no smells. It was a very clean, neat facility. You can pull it up on Google and look at it. They just could not find anything, and they had no concerns about the smells and about the potentials for this.
Thank you.
I do have one more question. What's going to be your point of entry as far as like a main drive or a main thorough to get in? Are you going to use 31 or will you?
They will have Essex Drive, so it will come directly onto the Essex Drive that they're building. They will go up, they can go north to Paul Hand, then they can take Paul Hand over and use the truck route through Whiteland to go out to the interstate that way.
Okay.
That's probably going to be their easiest.
Or if they're headed south, they
Or
can
if they're headed
take our
south.
truck route and go to the Franklin exit.
Right. Either way, they'll be going through the truck route.
Okay.
Since Oklahoma, which was 2018, I believe, are there any additional new technology for reducing any emissions into the air? I'm assuming that you are on top of that because you have to be, but.
I don't know, I could bring up my environment. Do you have an answer to that one, or?
Hey,
We
have-
need you
Here
here,
to come
yeah,
up
so we
and-
can record it.
It's compensated me.
You're trying to avoid it.
Yes, here.
So everything, I'm Chris Ashby, I do environmental health and safety for Malarkey, based here in Indiana, as a matter of fact. So for EPA regulations, we have to have best available control technology. So every time there's a new control technology, when we permit, that's what we test and we do air modeling for. So what we are going to be building here will have the best available control technology for all emissions.
Yeah, I assume so. I'm glad to hear that.
And if those emission requirements are upgraded, must you then comply with that in order to keep your permit, correct?
Yes.
That's how I understood it.
Yes.
Awesome. One last question. I'm assuming when you build a plant, that you have other vendors or companies that follow suit near you that you guys buy product from, or you use them in one fashion or another. I was just curious if you have a knowledge of what else we might expect because of your impact on the community.
Yeah, I think just practically, logistically, we want to source things as near as we can. So I don't know if I have any specifics, but we will be buying local asphalt. There's local limestone we'll be needing to get if we can find the right source for it. If we do any sort of like contractor type work or just the actual construction, we'll be trying to get as local as we can. If because we want to benefit the city, but also just practically speaking, it's just better for the company as well. So.
Do you find that other companies relocate closer to you because of the type of company you are?
Not that I know of that's happened, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we're quite big enough to drive that, but.
You seem pretty big to me.
Well, I guess I'd say one example in Oklahoma City, actually, our asphalt vendor, they actually built a terminal. Actually, it's about a couple miles from our location, which created, where they could bring in asphalt by rail, and that helped us, but also they helped other people that want asphalt in the area, and obviously it created some local jobs there. So that's probably one good example.
Yes. All right.
And so just to clarify, what you'll be doing in the building is from ground zero all the way up to the finished product, and then you're shipping it out, right? Is that what's happening?
What do you mean? I'm
Like, so you'll melt it down, you'll make it, you'll package it, and you'll take it to the vendor, right? Or no?
Correct. I mean, the asphalt comes in liquid form for us.
But I
and
mean, the
so-
shingle itself.
Yeah, so we're making the shingle from
Okay.
the only, I guess, it starts with the fiberglass mat, which is at the substrate. That we're not making here, so that will be coming here from our Maryland plant, and then you basically pour the asphalt on it, you cool it, you add some granules, then you got to cut it, package it, and then ship it out to the customer. And we'll do all that from here.
Okay.
And you have a distributor here in Franklin already?
Yes, I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
Reese.
Okay, yes. And so, but we do, yes. And so we've already been actually seeding the market in general in Indiana. So we've actually been sending product from our Oklahoma plant up to this area for the last several years, trying to get it with anticipation. So I know everybody in the market, our customer side, they've been very anxious about, announcement of, of a groundbreaking and this plant getting going.
There is a company here in Franklin that does sell their product.
Reese?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Any other questions? Good conversation. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that needs to be vetted out and talked about in public and get the facts out, and I don't think the facts has basically really been out there, and that's what we're trying to get tonight, is to the facts, so.
And if, I do have one more question. If you do have it approved, how long do you expect it from breaking ground to?
Yeah, so if everything goes to plan, we hope to break ground later this year, and we hope to get product out by like mid-2026.
Okay.
That's a lot to do, but we're highly motivated.
So back to, I just want to clarify a question that Irene brought up. So whenever you will have a couple buildings, whatever, they're right there together, right? It's not like we're having separate warehouses all over the property, which, another thing, this property has been, we've worked with 2 other companies over the last 2, 3, 4 years to do this. And they were like this piece of property, I think there was 4 or 5 warehouses that was proposed on this one parcel that you're going to buy. And that would have been 4 or 5 different companies with trucks running up and down the road, where there's this one company with trucks and one company that will be using the railroad. So that is what I see as a big difference in what your company is compared to the other companies. I am satisfied with the environmental questions that has been brought up, and that the answers that we have got from IDEM and the consultants that we work with. So
yeah, I think it's fair, because we've asked that question too. Why was it always so close and not developed, right? And it seems like the market changed and the warehouse market changed, and so it is like we're tied to that market at all, right? We're tied to the roofing, and we actually, almost all of our business, like 95%, is re-roofing, not new construction. So that actually provides a lot of stability, because roofs need to be changed every 20, 22 years. So that's been good. As far as I know, there hasn't been like layoffs or that kind of thing, because there's just always, there might be a little bit slowdowns, right, sometimes, but there's just a really strong demand in this market. So I think that's actually good from a diversification point of view for the city as well. To answer your question about where the buildings are all planned to be in the middle of the property. The southern part will be where the water retention pond is, and the north is where like how the outside storage of the inventory, which if we need to have extra storage out there, and it'll be screened as well. So part of what we try to do is to be good neighbors and not to be right there on the perimeter, right? So we're trying to locate in the middle and try not to be around any sort of residential area, that's how it'll be.
But it is zoned for this type of industry, right? And so they'll still have to, you'll get to see it again, since you are on the Plan Commission. So they'll have to come with a site plan, and
yes,
they'll have to come with site plan and comply with all the ordinances and that kind of stuff.
hang on, sir, hang on just a minute, and I'll get to you. Yes.
Jennifer?
Well, just your current client base or your customer base, what are you have, is it highly, I guess, populated in a certain area of?
So we mostly sell kind of like west of the Mississippi right now, just because we only have plants that go that far. We sell through distribution, so we'll sell through a lot of the big guys like at ABC, Beacon, and SRS, and then they in turn sell to what we kind of view as our real customer, who's the roofers. So we actually have a sales force that goes and gets roofers we want them to be excited that they can put a good high quality roof and they can win with our product, and so they're the ones that actually go sell to the homeowner. So in some sense, we have 3 different customers: the homeowner, the roofers, the distributor. And our aspiration is to be able to go all national once we get this plant. We also need another plant built sometime in the future as well.
One last question. I bet I have anyway. So you are a family-owned business, but you have a parent company now.
It's a family founded, but the family sold out 2 years ago.
Okay, to Wholesome.
Wholesome, yeah. So they're
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, so they're a building products company, fairly large, based out of Switzerland.
Okay.
But publicly traded on the Switzerland market.
I'm just going to ask your opinion. Are they on board? I'm assuming they're on board with this project. they would have to be as a parent
Oh, for
company.
sure. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But they are long-term committed.
Yes, yes. And I guess I should say, like, they actually, they're actually doing a spin out of their North American business. So this, starting next year, there'll be a new publicly traded company. It'll be a U.S. base on the NYSE, which will be part of that. So it'll be about an $11 billion company. But no, I mean, this is right in the wheelhouse what they like. They bought Malarkey because they want to be in building materials. They're in roofing in general, commercial, where their main play on the residential side, and they really like being sustainable. In part just because the Swiss part of it and the way all the European standards are, they want to, that's part where they like it. And so this has been a focus on this plant even since before they bought the company, and this whole time I get a lot of pressure personally, actually, about why this thing, why have we got this thing going yet? So no, they're definitely very committed. And this is, I mean, we view this as a, it's probably a 20 to 40 year type investment. I mean, our Portland plant, again, that's the original one. It's been there, and we'll keep on investing there. Oklahoma one, we opened that up in 2010, and again, we've continued to invest in there, continue to expand it as well.
You going to be here in 40 years?
No.
Okay.
My kids will be, I hope. Any other questions? And I just want to say, we don't have to open this up for public comment, but we're going to. So just hang on just a minute. Is there any more questions before and we can always come back. So at this point, this gentleman said he had a question. I do want to open this up for public comment. Again, I just want everybody to know we're not required to do that, but being our citizens are here, and I want to hear from you. So yes, please. Go up to the mic, state your name.
And state your name for the record so that our minutes are accurate, please.
I'm Bill Meadows. I own a home in Brannigan, and I guess I should be talking with you.
No, please, on the mic, sir. Sir,
Mike,
yeah, in the mic, and then they can hear you.
He'll answer, but see, in the mic, it's amplified, so we
Yeah,
need to
okay.
record it.
Will there be any storage of tires to be ground that will not be kept inside the building?
Yeah, we don't actually grind the tires ourselves. We buy that as a processed material, so it just kind of comes in super sacks of like the ground rubber. So,
Do you have anything else?
Is it all indoor storage, I guess is the question too.
I'm trying to think about that. Yeah, I think the raw materials all indoor. There are silos where we store the granules.
She's got an answer for you.
She's shaking her head.
Yes, we're all indoors and
Yeah.
silos outside.
Thank
So
you.
I bring the technical expert here. So.
Okay, we have one lady back here. Ma'am, please come up and state your name and the question you have.
Quite tall enough there. Molly Abney Einhaus. I've been a resident of Franklin since 2007, and I just have a couple questions. One with the permit from an EHS perspective, the permit from EPA. How long is that permit renewable? Is it 1 year, every 5 year? How many? I'm sorry, this is challenging.
It's all good. So IDEM will issue us a 5-year permit because it will be a fee stop. We'll get a construction permit first, so we'll have to apply for a construction air permit. They'll give us 18 months after we get that to have the building built, or we ask for an extension. You have to be action. Once we get that permit, once we start construction, we start up. We have 180 days to stack test, so we can have our emission summaries, and then we'll have renewals every 5 years.
Can I add to that, ma'am, before you go to your next question? I asked IDEM the same question, and we looked at, whenever I had my conversation with some folks at IDEM, you did self-report, and what they said was, to me, was a good thing. It looks like they self-reported. However, in Indiana, they won't have to worry about self-reporting because we have inspectors that go out and check the jobs. So I just want to make sure everybody realizes that IDEM and EPA is they're on top of that.
Thank you. So within that 5-year span, first, will they be within the 215 jobs that you're bringing? Will there be a full EHS team on site and with internal auditing? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then...
And the record will reflect that the answer was in the affirmative, there will be.
There'll be an EHS team depending on the size, so I am the director of EHS for all of Malarkey. I'm based here in Indiana, 2 hours from here. we'll have an EHS manager here. We may have a specialist, just depending on the workflow and how everything goes.
So with the one external party of IMA, will you also be partnering with any other external EHS to keep auditing external within those 5 years? And I can reframe that. Do you have any other external parties that you'll be working with during this time to come in and monitor and work with your EHS team?
I would think that's
I
going to
can
be
reframe
part of the
it.
process with IDEM and EPA. And I'm not talking like an expert here, but you know that Franklin has had some issues that wasn't all the facts. So I've been pretty up to date on environmental issues in the city of Franklin. So they are monitored with IDEM and EPA.
Okay.
And I'm very close with IDEM. I've permitted many Title Vs and down, and I'm up here talking to IDEM, and I'm on their partnerships, and I'm on their stewardship programs. So I'm at meetings with IDEM all the time, so they all know me, unfortunately or fortunately. I don't know which way you want to say it, but they do.
Okay. So I think what I heard was no, other than IMD, the answer is no, there's no other external companies that's coming in within those 5 years to help with external auditing.
I don't think we can answer that.
Okay,
I don't think that's an answer we can give you, because I know that with Wholesome, we have external audits. You know, it just depends, but IDEM will be in there yearly at least, if not more than that. We have to self-report monthly or quarterly, depending on what our permit requires, and annually. We'll have emission reports annually, we'll have deviation reports. So there is and then not just air, we have stormwater, we have water, we have waste reports, and everything is on the virtual file cabinet for IDEM, so it's all public knowledge.
Okay.
Plus, ECHO is an EPA website that you can pull all that out, information also.
Okay, thank you. The other question I have is with using the railroad as transportation to bring in materials and bring out materials, how is that monitored once that product or those raw materials are coming in? How is that during transportation? How is any emissions and air quality being monitored when you guys are bringing in products on the railroad? I guess what I'm trying to say is, and correct me, maybe I have the wrong vision, but we have our railroads that's going to have materials in the carts, but those carts are exposed to air and emissions can happen during transport.
Ma'am, I think you're starting to ask questions that they probably can't answer, and you're asking the wrong people. Maybe the railroad might be the one you want. And I just want to make one other comment. This is not our first industrial business. We have several, and they all follow IDEM and EPA scrutiny every day. And we do have companies here that deal with different aspects of environmental stuff. So I just think we're getting in the weeds with stuff they can't answer.
Okay, so coming back to the facility, itself, I'm just going through my questions.
Plan Commission.
I think you've answered my questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Okay, at this time, I will close the public hearing. Now it's back to the council to, any more questions, or how about Mayor's Youth Council? Do you guys got a question? Okay.
So yes, today I am asking for approval of Resolution 2024-01 for real property, 10-year standard abatement with a 2% economic development fee, and Resolution 2024-02, 10-year standard abatement for personal property with a 5% economic development fee.
Does council have any other questions?
I do not.
No questions.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome
All
to
right,
town.
thank you, Dana.
Welcome to Franklin.
To Franklin.
Okay, Dana's with our next one, too. Let me get where I'm at here. Yearly tax abatement compliance report for approval. Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Yes, I'm here with KC 2024-11 from the Economic Development Commission for G&H Wire. G&H Wire came before the Economic Development Commission for their regular CF1 compliance in April. At their April meeting, they were asked to come back because the Economic Development Commission had some questions concerning their employment. They were down in their employment numbers, had not yet made the total numbers that they said that they would be able to do. So they did come to our May meeting. They did explain some of the changes that were going on in the industry with orthodontics. Basically, their sales were not quite as robust as they were hoping that they would be. Kind of a downturn in the economy type thing. People tended to put orthodontics aside a little bit. So they were fully compliant in real. They do intend to continue moving forward to getting their full number of employees up. They are definitely above in wages, and we're continuing to do that. The EDC did hear that and did find that they would like to recommend approval for the CF1 report.
Okay, this one is just simply one meeting. That's not for public comment.
Correct.
So it's up to the council. Any questions?
What was the vote at the EDC?
It was unanimous to approve this one.
It was?
Yes.
Thank you. I know Sean's not here tonight representing EDC, which is fine. I don't have any further questions.
Okay, we need a motion to approve or deny.
So move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will go on to the next one. Request waiver of noncompliance for Form 322 tax abatement.
Yes, this is for legacy investing. In your city council memo, I gave the full details of the history of this. Just briefly, 2 years ago, a legacy investing purchased the building on Forest Road. It was built originally by GDI and then sold to Core 5. In the process of the sale from Core 5 to Legacy, the CF1 compliance form was not turned in time. They were not able to get that. There were just some different things it was a complicated sale, different things that occurred. So we did grant them a waiver of noncompliance. The second year, last year, they had an increase in their total assessment, so they were required to file a 322. They did not file that on time because they thought they had filed it correctly. It was not filed correctly. There were just some things like that had occurred. So they came before us again and asked for a waiver of noncompliance, which you did grant them last year. This year, they did have a third Form 11 and a 322 that was due, as well as a CF1 form. I did not receive that. They contacted me the last week of April and asked about that. Long story short, they had an employee that was responsible for taking care of that who is no longer with them, so they were not able to get those filed on time. They did send those forms to me. They were due to the county on May 15th, which is why obviously it's past that date. We have not yet been able to approve those. That's why we could not do a standard CF1 because they did not get that in time. I did have a phone conversation Friday. I had a conference call with Ashley Tomlinson from Legacy Investing. We went over in depth. This is the process. This is when things are due. This is how this works. They thought they were due to us on May 15th when it has to be due, long story short, has to be due to the county by then. But in order for us to send them an approved CF1, we have to have time to go through the EDC here and your body before we can go to that. So that's why we can't wait until May 15th to get them, because then that gives you no time to vet or for the EDC. So this was heard last week at the Economic Development Commission by a vote of 3-2. They did vote to approve the waiver of noncompliance. They felt that they were well above in their investment numbers. The Target Return Center is located there. Target does have a lot of personal property there. There is no abatement on that personal property, so they're paying 100% of the tax value on that. This is their third year of the abatement for the real property, which is the question. Mr. Daniel English is here tonight from Legacy, and he is happy to kind of explain to you the things that they have put into place to ensure that this does not happen again. So, Mr. English, I'll let you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us, or me. Clearly we had some operational foot faults, which, is embarrassing to say the least, and it's not something we want to do again. So we have a team in place that manages these sorts of things. We reviewed all of our processes with them. We did proactively reach out to Dana, which is how we realized we were not in compliance, and have taken steps to, well, the employee that was underperforming has since been terminated. Those processes have been updated, and now we have fully documented the processes, so hopefully, or not hopefully, but we believe that we will be compliant going forward.
Have you built in a redundancy for purposes of notification so that we don't rely upon somebody maybe leaving the company?
Yeah, that was the most obvious mistake that we made, was that individual's email was still on, but nobody was checking it, and so the emails were received, but nobody read them, and so.
But have you provided at least 2 points of contact for our office to be able to deal with, so that it doesn't happen again?
I don't know.
Yes, this is what we did on Friday. I spoke with Ashley Tonneson and Jessica Miller from there, and I have both of their contacts, so they now do. As a courtesy for all of our companies and to try to just kind of help move things along and be a support to them, I do at the beginning of every year, I do send them copies of the CF1 reports, give them the due dates for when all of the meetings are and things like that. All of our resolutions state that these CF1s are due to this body within 60 days of the first of the year. If for some reason they feel like they can't get it there by the end of February, they have often contacted me. I've worked with them, and they may give them till the end of March, which still allows us time. So I did send all of these same notices. It went to Mr. Brooks' email, which, as Mr. English said, he was no longer there. So I was getting delivered receipts. I was not getting read receipts. So I knew they were being delivered, but I wasn't getting anywhere with them. So that has been, yes, ma'am, that has been corrected.
Sir, under normal circumstances, I mean, I think the city has gone above and beyond its normal approach to being a good partner, so to speak, and normally in my mind, 3 strikes and you're out. And you guys have been under this abatement, which you haven't been in compliance since day one, correct?
I guess that there were some, I think there were efforts to be in compliance, so our intention was to be in compliance.
You either are or you're not, so, and the record states that you haven't been. So, I don't know. Because I know Dana does an extremely amount of homework contacting every single company that is abated with the city to make sure that you guys are doing your jobs, and yet failed to do it 3 years in a row. So that's unfortunate.
So I just want to add one thing to that. When you say not in compliance, definitely not in compliance to report. However, you're in compliance with what you agreed to do with investment and employment. So there's 2 different things there. We just want to make sure that that's not confused.
Yes, that is correct, and that was, I wish Mr. Taylor was here, he could explain, that was kind of the discussion with the Economic Development Commission, was that they did the work that they said they were going to do, they completed and actually have invested more than we had originally had on our SB1 report, so they did above that. Target, as I said, it's full employment. They have actually been really good neighbors out there. They've done a great job, and they're paying 100% on theirs. So that was the same discussion that was held at the EDC. Mr. Austin was, this is the 3rd time. This was clerical error. So it kind of went back and forth, as I said, and from the vote, you could determine that it was a discussion.
As you well know, I spent 20 years on EDC, so.
You did.
I don't have any comments further.
Any other questions? So Todd's looking at me kind of funny. I'll just give you my 2 cents worth, which, this is a council decision. I just want to say that I think what I see with compliance of the investment, the employment numbers, And we left it up to the EDC to make that decision. I think our recommendation was, here's what you can do. You can approve it, or you can not approve it. And
Correct.
the EDC made their decision 3-2, and it's the same way here with the city council. I just know that they've made a big investment. They've lived up to what they said they would do. However, I do understand where Mr. Austin is coming from, because we have talked about this many times, and I don't feel like our staff, who doesn't make the money that's at these companies that's keeping up with this, our staff should be doing the job. But I get it. So this is kind of a one. I think we turned one down one time, but at that point, we were going to have to write a check, and we didn't write the check.
Yes, yeah, actually, Krista, thank you so much. Krista Linke did just remind me to let you know that this abatement will be concerning the 2025 tax year. Therefore, there would be no taxes refunded, nothing like that. Nothing would affect that. So the dollars are in everybody's budget, would not change. This is not on dollars we have already received. This is dollars that we would receive next year.
What have we done in the past? Because now we're on, if we approve this, then we're on the hook for future.
Can I answer that one?
Yes, sir.
When you say we're on the hook, I'm going to disagree with that. And what I mean by that is, if we do approve this, we're not on the hook to approve something down the road. And I think I don't believe in setting precedents. I believe in tackling each one individually. And if they come along and they had half their employment numbers and half their investment numbers, I'd be the first one to say, no, this is ridiculous. We can't do this.
Agree.
So that is where I'm at, as far as I'm very hesitant to say we're setting a precedent. So
I just want to make sure you guys know more than I do. 'Cause
Legal,
this is
I
my
would
first rodeo.
agree. Each one is looked at individually in terms of that, and it is completely, from a legal standpoint, completely discretionary. So the rules are pretty.
I'll take that one step further then, Mayor. If this happens again next year, then I'm assuming that there'll probably be a different outcome, I would assume.
The EDC was very firm
Okay,
in that.
and I know you feel quite confident in your ability and sternness with him, so, thank you.
I doubt they would even ask.
Hey, Dana, how far along are we in this abatement?
This will be the third year.
Third year?
And I understand that your processes have changed, but in those 3 years of noncompliance, was it the same employee that was responsible for?
Yes, unfortunately, and it took us a while to realize what was going on. So that individual no longer works for us, and or maybe not. Obviously, we have buttoned up those processes. We're very proud to invest in this community and want to keep doing that, and would like to be in compliance with the paperwork for sure. We do take that very seriously, despite what it may seem.
And just for clarification, it's the reporting noncompliance, not abatement noncompliance, reporting noncompliance. You're doing a good job. I'd want to tell everybody.
Yes, yeah, they are, like I said, they are above in their investment numbers. They have definitely fulfilled that. It's a very well-maintained facility, full employment. We've just not had any issues.
Well, that means they're making money, and they're making money and being good at what they do. But it's a direct reflection of management, in my opinion.
Okay, is there any other comments or questions? We're ready to go either way.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, been approved. Thank you. Hopefully you're not back.
Don't let the dog eat your homework. It won't go over well.
Thank you. Yeah, we do appreciate your company. Thank you. Okay, next item, 2024 Economic Development Fees Grant Award, Community Development Specialist Dana Monson again.
Last one, I promise. This one is actually one that I'm really excited about and I was very excited about the first one as well. But this is, as you know, every year, every company that does receive a tax abatement has the option to voluntarily pay that 2% real, 5% personal economic development fee. It goes into a yearly fund that is 2% or 5% of the savings that they have for that year. So it does go down, yeah, the amount that they pay, the longer it goes into their abatement, and then it does roll off when their abatement is gone. This year, we have had a lot of growth in the last few years, as you all are well aware. We had a total of $90,257.79 in those EDC funds. That's the largest amount that we have ever had. The EDC did put out a request for proposals from our nonprofits. Per our ordinance, as well as the state, we are required to give those funds to a nonprofit that is actively working in an area of economic development within the city limits of Franklin. So we sent those requests out. We received back 3 applications. The first one was the Public Arts Advisory Commission. They are working on 2 really unique projects. One is adding to the Veterans Alley that is located over beside the Elks. They're going to be adding some statues and some different things to help honor our veterans and honor our military service. The second project is the completion of the intersection right over here at Jackson and Monroe. They're going to be doing some street art that will go into the intersection. This asphalt art has been shown in a number of areas where it actually does reduce traffic calming. It's a great thing to put into areas where you have a lot of pedestrians, which is why that intersection came to our minds so strongly, because of the fact that we have so many people that are coming down there for concerts, for the farmers market, et cetera. Chris and I were at a conference a couple weeks ago, and we actually I went to a session that was talking about asphalt art and the things, and even the Federal Transportation Department is recognizing this as a traffic calming feature. So they are asking, they were requesting through this process $40,000, $20,000 for each of those. Those dollars will actually be doubled because they, through Ready, which is another whole nother thing, Ready 1 had some remaining funds at the end of the Ready 1 year in our area that we were, or our region that we were involved in at the time. So they contacted each one of the counties and stated that they had $90,000 that could go to each county for 2 projects. They could do 2 art-related projects. The only one that applied for those funds in Johnson County was me, because that's what I do. And so I originally applied for 1 project. They contacted me back and they said, well, nobody else is here. We still have $45,000. Do you have another project? I said, sure. So we actually are going to be able to get $90,000. In addition, we will also be getting $30,000 from the Indiana Arts Commission to help match that, and then so that along with these EDC funds will come together so that we will end up with a total of $90,000 for each one of those projects. So that was the first request. The second request was from the Franklin Chamber Foundation. They requested $30,000. They are going to be doing the small business grants, the same program that they did last year, which seemed to be very beneficial. So this program is a grant for any business in, is it just the downtown, or is it the entire city, Rosie? But the parameters are that they must have 10 or fewer employees. So we're really looking at those small micro businesses. They can apply for up to $2,500 for capacity. So it could be for a new point of sale system. It could be for a website upgrade. It could be for anything that can kind of help to expand on their business. They did this last year. They gave 13 grants, and we did see some really neat impacts and some really neat things that happened based on those grants that they were able to do. They would like to do that again this year, so that was $30,000 for them. The third request came from Franklin Heritage. They requested $20,000. It would be for a comprehensive plan for them, for the art craft. They're trying to figure out, here we've got this wonderful theater, we've got this budding heritage program. How do we move? What makes sense for us to move forward with that program? Not a lot of firms work with comp plans for art theaters, for things like that, for these types of vintage theaters, so it's a little bit more expensive than they had planned. So that was what they requested. The EDC reviewed these 3 grants. They chose to give the full $40,000 to the PAC. They gave $30,000 to the foundation, and then they chose to give the $20,000 and then the remaining $257.76 to Franklin Heritage for their comp plan program. So I am here tonight asking for your approval to give those dollars to those 3 organizations in those amounts.
Any questions, comments? If not, we're ready to move forward.
I would move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the request as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
Good
Okay.
work, Dana. Keep it up.
Next item, request approval of budgetary resolution 24-03 to transfer unused fire medic funds to the general fund in the amount of $18,108.15. This is Clerk Treasurer Jan Jones. And Jan, I think this is introduction only, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a resolution.
Okay, so we
It's
can do,
transfer.
okay, we can do it tonight.
Mine's boring, I guess, after everybody else's. I'll just do both these really quick. We're trying to clean up some of the funds and do some housekeeping items. We came across this fund that has been dormant for a while. The funds were for the ambulance service when the city ran it. We're just simply putting it back into the general fund, which is where fire comes out of anyway. So the next one is for unused ARP Creative Community Pathways donation to combine that with the other fund for the same. They were both earmarked for water tower mural. They were just named something completely different, so nobody knew what they were for. They never got used. They sat there. We did some research, found the origination of the funds and what that money was for, and so it's time just to combine those.
No restrictions on them. It's just where we,
So
where we,
it's not, yeah, ethically, we said, yeah, we're gonna use it for the water tower mural, but legally,
they
they're
were
unrestricted.
unrestricted. And no new appropriation, so we can pass them both tonight.
That's right.
That's where we park them.
Okay, so
Thank you.
we'll go, thank you, Jan. We'll go back to the very first one. Item number 6, request approval of budgetary resolution 24-03 to transfer unused fire medic funds to the general fund, the amount of $18,108.15. Any questions for Jan? If not, we're ready to move on that one.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will go to the next one. Also, we can do tonight, request approval of budgetary resolution 2404 to transfer unused ARP Creative Community Pathways to donations park, water tower, mural in the amount of $5,000.
And we did rename that, sorry. It was not named that, but we renamed it, so now it makes sense, so.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, is that correct? Did I get that
Yes.
right? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, there isn't any other business. We'll go into council member comments, and I think tonight, I'll start with our Mayor's Youth Council. They've been very quiet and patient tonight. In just a few days, you guys are going to be seniors, so congratulations. Start. One day of school left? Oh, man, good job.
I'm Lizzie, and this is Ella. And we just did the ribbon cutting for the electrical vehicle charger downtown, like last week. And we also had our elections and induction ceremony for the new council for next year. And then NOAA also announced that we got the Moon Tree application. So that'll be going on the cross-country course at the high school.
Okay, good update. You got anything, Ella, to add?
She covered it all.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Sounds just
Jennifer?
like her dad.
Looked, my notes said congratulate the Mayor's Youth Council for the ribbon cutting on Friday, or Thursday, yeah. So
And Jennifer was there, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, and whenever you're talking about having access to people and things that other kids may not have access, or other communities that don't provide this, we had city council people there, just so you know.
And great pics in the newspaper.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I have nothing to.
Nothing, Irene?
No.
Todd?
Welcome to Malarkey, to our city. We're very proud of it. Congratulations to the Chamber of Commerce for the award. Thank you.
Mr. Austin?
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor. I've said enough.
Mrs. McGinnis?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Mr. Prine?
Yeah, just everybody have a happy holidays. It's Memorial Day.
Your favorite one, I know.
I didn't know you mentioning that.
Yeah.
Strawberries on the Square.
Yeah, Strawberries on the Square, is that this Friday? Yeah, this Friday, yeah. I had to ask that. I shouldn't have had to do that. Tara, do you have anything to add? Jan? Lynn?
Yes, sir.
I have nothing to add. Ready for a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.